Drew, welcome. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you today. Welcome to the Still Evolving podcast, where we explore the truth behind lasting high performance and resilience. Rather than relying on perfection or superhuman ability, our conversation really is to highlight that real strength emerges from simple, intentional habits grounded in self compassion, adaptability, and the ability to grow through life's inevitable setbacks. So, Drew, I'm going to give you a minute to share more on your journey, but just a quick intro. We're just very fortunate. Drew Davis has joined us today. Drew is a certified life and performance coach, NFL legend, and founder of Quality Over Quantity Elite Performance. As a former Division I collegiate and professional athlete, Drew has coached and spoken to over 1,000 high-performing individuals, equipping him with his signature L.A.P, Leadership Adversity Peak Performance Framework. His keynotes blend mental skills training, resilience, and storytelling to inspire confidence, peak performance, and lasting growth on and off the field. So, Drew, welcome. Thank you so much for jumping on.
Thank you for asking to be on, Dr. Amy. I know our relationship goes way back to when you were helping me at the University of Oregon perform like the best athlete I could on the field. And so just being here with you is definitely just a coming a full circle moment. And I'm glad and happy for all the things in the lives you are affecting until this day.
Thanks, Drew. Thank you. Well, we have just a very kind of direct, quick hit format here at Still Evolving. So I've got a couple lineups of questions, but certainly we can riff and go a lot of different directions. So first up, can you share a bit of your journey or evolution and the motivations that have fueled your journey?
No problem. Just growing up, I've always been involved in sports. Baseball was my very sports sport I played. Then I matriculated to football once my mom realized that I was bigger than the other kids and I wouldn't get hurt. And so I just was able to kind of just excel in football and excel in sports. I was one of the biggest kids out there. I was one of the fastest kids. And I go to high school and I realized that for me to get to college, my parents didn't have money for me to go to college, so I would have to get an athletic scholarship. And I did really well. Was a four-star prospect in Denver, Colorado at Montbello High School. Got 26 scholarship offers and then ultimately decided to go to the University of Oregon where we met. And I went there and we had some success once we brought in Chip Kelly and his fast paced offense and some better players and some very just good cohesive teams. But once I left there, I went and played professional football. I was an undrafted free agent for the Atlanta Falcons. Had been cut twice, had been on the practice squad twice, and ended up getting 4 years out of there. And then I transitioned into the real world and in real life. And it wasn't so that I was not good at anything. I just didn't know what I wanted to do per se. And so a lot of that was trial and error, working jobs that I knew I was way more qualified and more intelligent, that I should be doing something else. But during that time, I realized, how many other student athletes or athletes are lost once they leave their sport. And I've always been somebody who's loved to help people, really good at talking and connecting with people. And so I just parlayed that in my psychology background into helping more people in coaching and helping guide them through transition and then their performance on and off the field. And that's what brings me here today.
Well, that is one heck of a journey. And I'm guessing you mentioned some of those like life's punches that maybe you took along the way, but what lessons or tools helped you navigate and keep moving forward and as you were still evolving?
I've been blessed in my whole life to always have great coaches in my sports that I played that ended up being more than coaches and operating as mentors. And so even when I ran into problems like tearing my ACL after my very first start at the University of Oregon, I had a mentor by the name of Palika Houston, who's like a big brother to me, and he talked to me about staying put and continue to work hard to get back on the field and to get back to good health. And it was just such a vulnerable time and a vulnerable age for me. Like I said, I'd played football since the age of 8. I was good at other things. I'm a smart kid. I had a 4.0 in high school. I was Franklin D. Watkins All-American type person. But I just had my eyes set on football, and that's what I wanted to exhaust until there was nothing left. But I just always had people to pour into me and show me the potential I had, to sign me up for speaking engagements, to put me around to mentor young men, to ask me, what's my 2-year, my 5-year, my 10-year plan. And those people help me evolve more than anything because I see them, I see the families that they have, I see the things that they've done in their life and the heights that they're at and still climbing, and I have stuff to shoot for now. So just what keeps me evolving is I'm a lifelong learner. I'm a lifelong learner. I
Mhm.
love books. I love development. I love the sense of what confidence can get you and the heights that it can take you. And so for me, evolving, that's the way the world's supposed to be. I hope you're not the same you were 5 or 10 years ago, just at your core with the person you are. But outside of that, the world's changing around us and things are getting better and changing. And so we have to change with them. So me evolving is just becoming more just of a man that I was meant to be, that my parents wanted me to be, that raised me to be, but also to do things that have to do with helping people and guiding them and getting them where they need to go, just like I had people for me.
I love that. We talk so much about connection is often the agent of change, right? And just hearing from you, the role that mentors, your family, other sport coaches really had, really just kind of gave you that net, really, to allow then your continued growth and how all that kind of came with that evolution. You touched on it a little bit, but I really wanted to follow on another we talk about at AP Performance, especially, is what got you here won't keep you here.
Mm.
And specifically related to mindset shifts. You're talking about the world keeps on growing and moving forward. And if we're not evolving, really, like, where are we going, right? We can get stuck. But oftentimes, I think with mindset, we don't necessarily consider how those shifts and that evolution plays a significant role. So, could you talk a little bit about maybe in your journey what you have come to notice and any shifts you have made with your mindsets?
So the athlete in me is still alive and well. So for those that have played sports or, even got to the college or professional level, it's built a lot of who I am. And, the discipline, the work ethic, sometimes the perfection that we try to chase that we're never gonna get, but we do it anyway because that's what we've been taught. And so for me, I've always had this sense of like, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. And in a way, and that goes across a couple different realms. But we played sports where we knew somebody was coming after our spot. We knew that just because you're starting point guard today doesn't mean you're starting point guard next week, depending on how you play, how you practice, how you show up. And so when I'm in spaces or when I'm working with people, if I haven't gotten any better by working with them throughout a certain point in time, then I failed myself and I'm failing them as well. And so this sense that, you have to get better and you have to kind of find this way to continue to move forward is just a way of life. But I think the people that really have the mindset that there's more for me and there's more I can do are the people that always end up excelling and doing more. And I won't say better, but just doing more because you see that there's more food on the plate to be eaten. You're over here eating the vegetables and you go over here and you eat maybe a little bit of fruit or whatever, but you still have a main course or a snack or dessert coming after that. And so what I tell people is just to stay hungry
Mhm.
mentally, physically,
Yeah.
emotionally. And as long as you can get better and improve by 1%, and I know a lot of people just say 1% better every day, just find something that you can work on. That's kind of the
Mhm.
same thing I live by, just chasing something
Mhm.
that I probably will never catch, but it'll just keep me moving forward in that motion that I have more that I can do and that I'm capable of more as well.
Sounds incredibly powerful and motivating to know that, like, there is more opportunity. There is more. You may not even know what that is yet, may not be able to see it or feel it yet, but certainly that passionate pursuit. Yeah, it just kind of refuels you and keeps you moving
Yeah.
forward. Really big on and talking about immediate actionable steps or feedback. And because I can nerd out with the best of them. I can talk research. We could talk about, in real life, working with high performing teams, leaders, or organizations, what different approaches or philosophies can bring. But at the end of the day, we know that behavior change
Mhm.
starts with like that one small step. So for you, what would be like a simple, one immediate actionable takeaway that our listeners could use or put into practice today that may help them in their still evolving journey?
Mm. Like you said, change comes, on a microscopic level. Sometimes you can't 100% see it, or it might not really show what's going on. But underneath everything and underneath all those layers, the work is being done. And so I would say, just for me, just as something I started doing or I started out doing, is I just start very minuscule, just very small. And I build on that. And it could be something is, I've gone through phases where I don't work out and people still see me and they're like, nah, you're working out. I'm like, bro, I haven't been to the gym in weeks. Like, I feel bad. And I'm blessed with good genetics from my parents, so people are kind of often confused. But it starts as much as like, okay, I want to work out more. All right, I need to set that alarm. I need to not
Okay.
press snooze. Like those like actionable steps that you can do for me that work for me to get me to the gym, to be able to work out and to start. And I didn't say anything about yo, okay, I'm going to the gym and I'm doing 10 sets of 10 on this and I'm running 2 miles on the treadmill. I just got to get to the gym. And that starts with
Yeah.
waking up and not pressing snooze. And slowly after that, man, you start waking up before your alarm clock and you're shutting it off
Hmm.
before you need to. And then after that, you're
Yep.
at the gym for, an hour and a half and 2 hours and whatever it may be. So I just start on a very small microscopic level myself because I know how
Hmm.
I operate. And then also just when
Hmm.
I see the wins stacking up, I always talk about stacking wins. And I say all the
Yeah.
wins matter. The big ones, the small ones, the ugly ones. You start taking track of those and you'll look up and next thing you know, you formed a big W out of everything, out of all the small things that you've occurred.
I love it. Just small action, like you got to open up the computer to be able to respond to emails.
Mhm.
You got to put your feet on the floor to even get to the gym. So stand up instead of hitting snooze. I love it. You mentioned sleep in that example. We also talk about, and certainly what we have seen in high performance industries such as professional sports or elite sport, also see it in special forces, is the role that recovery has for performance. Can you share back from your experience what is your favorite recovery habit that really helps keep you grounded and positions you to be able to sustain high performance over a long period of time?
I am all about sleep. You won't catch me up past probably like 10:30, 11 on most days, but that's because I'm also up early. And so I know the later
Hmm.
that I go to sleep, my body doesn't respond well when I don't sleep. I'm not able to come to my
Hmm.
office and work as diligently as I want to. So sleep is real big for me. And that means having a good setting in my bedroom to, that's not where I eat. That's not where I take my phone into. That's not a place that I watch movies or have a TV. And so I set my space up, my sleep space to be able to sleep or to be able to have silence so that my body and my mind knows that, hey, we don't really operate in here. This is our place where we shut down and we kind of can regroup and grow from here. And so that's one big thing for me. Coach Chip Kelly, who I played for in college, I remember when he became the head coach, he talked about, there's recovery methods that are free. And he talked about sleep and he talked about water. And he said both of those are pretty much free, guys. So you can load up on those as much as you want here and you'll be
Hmm.
okay. And so that was the first time I really started taking my sleep seriously and I'm not getting in the bed with electronics or just even watching a movie to fall asleep to some noise. And so those are the things that I take my recovery very seriously because I just know if I don't get a good night's sleep, I'm not any good use to myself. And then I'm really not any good use to my clients as well.
I love it. Indeed, just really protecting that space, right? So that our habits and we're just kind of more in that routine, but also just really entering that space. It shapes us, it informs us, even if we're not like verbalizing that, right?
Mhm.
But that you've protected that space so that you can just relax, unwind, and take advantage of that number one performance enhancer. I love it. With regards to your ongoing growth, is there a reflection practice that supports your evolution, your pursuits? How do you use reflection in your day?
That's actually funny because I read this book by Ryan Leake, and I forget the name of the book right now. I'll get it to you after, but it's a thing that I didn't think to do before, and it's about leadership, and it's about people that want to be in a better place with leadership and grow pretty much. And he
Hmm.
said, pick 5 people in your phone that know you very well, and send them this simple text and ask them this question of how can I get better. And that's what he said. He said, text them this and say, how can I get better? It forces them to really give you an answer, not to say, what are the things I can get better at, but just, how can I get better? And let you know that you're not the best you can be right now and that you expect an answer from them. And so I sent it to about 5 or 7 people. And for me, it was interesting because the feedback that I got, it was 5 to 7 different things. It was, some friends know me in a certain way where, it's more to focus on relationship stuff, or somebody that knows me business wise is more talking about what books I read and which ones can like, widen my palette for what I'm taking in. And so that for me let me know that I'm not too one dimensional in what I do, that the people that know me in different
Hmm.
facets want to see me get better and develop in different ways. And so that's what I used as my reflection on the people around us because they see you, they see at your highest time, they see you at your lowest time.
Yeah.
So they get to know you like brothers and sisters, cousins, pretty much that they're around you so much. But
Yeah.
they're also the people that care about you the most. They want to see you grow. They want to see you successful. They want to see your family living in a nice house with a great car and taking vacation. They want all those things for you. And so those are the people that are going to give you the real upfront answers. And when I got
Hmm.
those answers, I was like, okay, well, I got work to do. And it's a good thing. Like it's a good thing to have some work to do. So you want that. And I wouldn't say it's criticism, but you want that feedback from the people that you trust because you know it's coming from a place of love.
I love that for so many reasons, Drew. First off, I was working with a colleague who we were talking about the use of after actions. With after actions, you could debrief a sport performance where you break down game film and you're looking at those small wins, like you said, or those missteps that you want to make some change. Certainly in private industry or military, we hear of after actions debriefing the mission or the circumstances. And she made a point. She's like, please remember, it's called after action. And what I love about hearing from you and you talking about the use of your reflection tool, not only the openness, but the actions that you took, right? And you use that connection, you use your community, those people who do love and care and are really behind you, whether it's to kind of like smack you upside the head and say, hey, pay attention, whether it's to lend that support when they
Mhm.
know you're working hard through challenge. But you had to take action to do that. And even once you had the data back and they texted you back, I hear you say now the work can be done. It's not an after ideation.
Mhm.
You're not just like kicking it around in the head. So you are taking action both in the reflective process, but then also using that data, those inputs to really shape how you're going to continue still evolving. And that's a great idea. Thank you for sharing that resource, and we'll be sure to include it in the pod summary. So Drew, as always, I love just kicking around these ideas with you, and I really appreciate you sharing on your journey of still evolving, those lessons, those tools, and or takeaways. So thank you again for being here today.
No problem. It's definitely my pleasure, and it's always good to talk shop with you.
Awesome. Till next time.